The Statistics tab provides a means to monitor resource utilization, as well as view traffic and requests to your packs and ports. At the top of the page, you can select the initial search options. Choose the time range, global region, which we call geozone, pack, and even narrow down to a specific port. Below that, you will see package utilization, which compares usage to your current subscription. This is somewhat static and doesn't change based on which pack you choose above, but to the right, the bandwidth utilization widget does. When you change which pack you want to see stats for, this widget will update accordingly. The device status table displays the most recent 100 events for devices that are used across all of your packs. You can quickly search or page through this table to see what just happened. But if you want to access the full device status history, you will need to go to the Account section in the upper right corner by clicking the gear or cog icon and then going to the Device Status tab. The graph widgets below start to provide more detailed information about the traffic heading to and from your packs, broken down by the port that is used, and of course the global region, if you change that above. This is handy if you want to see where the bulk of your traffic is coming from around the world. In the top row, you'll see bytes requested followed by response bytes. So if somebody makes a request to your application for something, the size of that request would increment the graph here. When in a 1-hour view, these are the totals for every 5-minute period. The response from your application is shown in the next graph. So for example, a request for a download file might be a small request, but in that case, the response would probably be much larger. These two graphs show that data. You can hover over the bars in the graphs or click the names below to focus on specific values if you want. Next to the byte total graphs are the request and response graphs. These are simply raw numbers. A request for a download file would probably be one request with one response, but a request for a web page might add up to a lot more since the average web page on the internet might contain and return 30 to 50 objects or so. So keep the uniqueness of your application in mind when considering these graphs. Further down, we show the same requests but broken down by packets, and below that we show the request rate, byte rate, and so on. Rates would be number of requests per time period. Hopefully, all of these graphs are simple enough to understand, but we do go into further detail in the online manual. At the very bottom, we have a health or availability graph. This simply tracks the device availability trend. If a device goes down for just a moment, it may not change the graph availability from showing 100%, since this graph does show averages over time. But if a device is down for a little longer, this graph will then show that here. For example, if you have two devices within a pack and both are always up, this would show 100% availability. But if one of the two devices were always down, this would show 50% availability. So that's how the availability percentage is calculated. That's really the essence of the Statistics tab. Consult the online manual for further detail.